Can I taste your juice?
Hey folks, PBusardo. So I'm going to do this video and talk to you guys a little bit about what I've been up to with this Mech test rig, Mech/hybrid test rig. So I've got it together. It is working. We're going to talk about what the rig is, what the numbers look like, how you're going to see the numbers, and how we're going to move forward, okay? But before we get into all of that, let me start off by saying this. If you don't care about these numbers, I urge you to continue to not care about these numbers, all right? So I put this together for my own data and for the small percentage of the vaping community that do care about these numbers, all right? So I'm doing this to keep these reviews interesting and valuable from everybody, from the person who just started vaping, who probably isn't caring about what I'm going to present, to the veterans who are really into this. And hopefully some of this information can help them out or at least be interesting to them. So in a video, several videos ago, I did a chart, and this chart kind of looked like this. Well, it looked a lot like this because this is the chart. And we took a look at 4 different mechs, actually 3 different mechs and 1 pseudo mech. And we took a look at the voltage drop across these. And we can see the voltage drop here in red and the voltage reading here in blue. All right. And it was a good test. It was a valid test. But the problem with the test is there are 2 variables in there that I need to get out of the equation. And those variables are, number 1, the battery, okay? Because for regulated devices, this is being regulated by the board, the processor that's in the regulated device, okay? With a mechanical device, it's all about this right here. And of course, the other variable, what you have screwed onto your device. Okay, so these are the 2 variables that I needed to get out of that test. A few thank yous before we go any further. First of all, Field of Vapor. Him and I have been talking a whole lot about this, how we were going to do it, how we were going to move forward. I know he is working on his own test rig. And I think in the future we are going to shoot something together, or at least get together maybe on Vape Link again like we did the last time and talk about what it is that we're up to. The second huge thank you, having this guy as a resource has been very, very valuable to me. And that is Zen of the House of Hybrids. He's really helped me out with this. We've talked a lot about it. We've argued a little bit, not a lot. It's been good. And he actually made me some things here too that I'm going to show you that are definitely an integral part of the test. So the original idea, what I was going to do originally was to use a battery slug. And these were made for me by Zen, okay? They are oxygen-free, nearly pure copper. And they look just like batteries. Here's an 18650, here's an 18490, here's an 18350, but you sure as hell don't want to charge them. They are solid copper, okay? And the idea was take the copper slug, drop it into a mech, measure the resistance. You get the internal resistance of the device. The lower the resistance, the better the device, better the connectivity. Well, that idea went right out the window when I started measuring things because the difference is so small. And the equipment that I have just isn't capable of measuring it to any point of giving me a valid number that I could put on a chart. So that idea, out the window. So phase 2 came about. And in phase 2, what we're doing is we have a test box. And this test box has a digital ammeter in it, ammeter. So we are going to be measuring amps. And an internal 1 ohm load that's being done with 2 100-watt 2 ohm resistors in parallel, just for some more surface area, because these things do heat up as you run this test. And you would expect that because those resistors are taking the place of your coil, okay? So they are simulating a 1 ohm coil. So the first variable, the topper, is now out of the equation, okay? Because we've got these 2 ohm in parallel 100-watt resistors inside of this test box. That is simulating the load, okay? Now, what about the battery? How do we get the battery out of the equation? Well, we do use the battery slug. Okay, so we use the battery slug in the Mech, and instead of a battery, we use an external power source. Okay, so what I have here is a 20 amp power supply. I'm going to be setting this power supply to 4 volts for this test to simulate a fully charged battery, or roughly a fully charged battery. And this power supply is going to go through the test box, through the device, and the test box will be able to measure the number of amps that the device is allowing through it. So what this gives me is a reproducible, recreatable test that I can run over and over and over again without the variables in there, like the battery power, like the topper, the resistance of your coil. Okay, so now I can chart the data, and we could track the Mech performance or the hybrid performance as these devices come in, as I take a look at them. All right, so to validate that the rig is actually working, it's doing what I expected, we go back and we take a look at this chart right here. And this is the one you've seen already. Again, we see the voltage drop here. We see the voltage drop here. But again, the problem is I'm just using whatever resistor, whatever coil I had on the device, and whatever battery I was using at the time. So if I were to use that battery again, these numbers would probably look a little bit different. With the power supply, it's a little bit different. Now, when I did this test the first time using the new rig, what I am hoping to see is that the amps track this voltage drop. And sure enough, they do. All right, so here are the number of amps that the devices are allowing through it. So let's take all of this other information out, and now let's just look at the amps, okay? And I am running this test several times. I'm taking 3 or 4 numbers, and I'm averaging them together to come out with this the amps that the devices are allowing through it. Also, the rig itself, when shorted out, is 3.59 amps. Okay, so this is the number that all of these devices are trying to achieve in a perfect world, of course. All right, and here again, you see the same thing as this chart, but now we're looking at just the amps, and it tracks. So shorted out, the rig gives me 3.59 amps. The Smoke Tech telescope is giving me 3.50 amps. Still cracks me up that this is doing the best out of what I've looked at so far. The Electric Angel is 3.43 amps. The Popular 2, 3.36 amps. And the Atom, 3.11 amps. And if we look at that in percentages, here's the percentage drop in amps that the different devices are giving us. All right, so let's see how this test goes. So we take the device in question, we select the proper battery slug, we insert the slug into the device. Now, you may notice here on the test box itself, I do have a voltmeter installed in it. I'm not using that voltmeter for anything other than calibrating the power supply. And this power supply is kind of a pain in the butt to work with because it has no fine and coarse adjustments, so I've already ordered a different one. So we put the battery slug in. We attach everything up. The power supply goes into the test box. The test box connects to the device, and then we fire the device, and we see the amps that the device gives us. So I just do that very same test a whole bunch of times. I average out the numbers, and I get the amperage that the device allows through it. So there you go. That's the test. The more amps that the device allows through it, the better the connectivity or materials that are being used, etc., inside of the device. That's the test that you're going to be seeing from me as far as these mechs go. You know, is this overkill? You bet it is. Without a doubt it is. But again, for those people who are asking, for those people who say one hits harder than another, for those people who are just curious and interested, I hope you find some of that information helpful moving forward. Where are we going next? The Smoke Tech Natural, because I've used this on cam before. I've had it for a while. Now I have the ability to test it with that rig. All right, guys, as always, I hope you found some of that information helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.
Can I taste your juice?